We are back on the afternoon sports drive, minus one of the J's. That would be Jordan King, but Jason Elmquist is here. Tom Dorado with you, Levi pushing all the right buttons, and I'm only here for a little bit. But the reason I wanted to get in here, and I look forward to this, we stay in contact, we being myself and Phil Forte, former standout here at Oklahoma State, now on Travis Ford's staff up there in St. Louis. And I guess we need to start out by saying congratulations on the big win in the tournament, and now you're going to the big tournament. And I asked you before, I looked for you in the dog pile, man, but I didn't see you.
Yeah. I want to know part of that. My days of jumping in dog piles are done. I was too busy running around looking for someone to hug or jump onto. But yeah, what a great feeling and great moment for sure.
Hey, let me tell you, Ford didn't mind jumping in the pile. He was right there in the middle of it. I don't know if that was just overcome with emotion, but he was right there with his players.
I think he just didn't know what to do. I think he just gets so caught up in that moment, and obviously just what we went through that week and just how the game ended, us being the 6th seed in the tournament. When the buzzer goes off, you're just so caught up in the moment, you know what to do. So it's kind of cool to see how happy that he was just in getting lost and enjoying that moment with the players.
It was not an easy year and or an easy tournament for you and St. Louis. And I got to stop, and I was telling the fellas here before we called you, when you were here at Oklahoma State, you heard so many years about the Big 12 tournament in Kansas City. Mm-hmm. Nobody can win 4 games in a row. Nobody can play 4. How did you guys pull that off?
You get a lot of credit to our players. They're just a tough, resilient group. I mean, we only played a true 6. We rotated a 7th in every now and then, played sparing minutes. But, I just think once you get rolling, we came out slow that first game, and then we found a way to win it. And every team that we played in the tournament beat us at least once. And, so we had kind of a second chance to beat those teams again. And I can't really explain it. It's just we just got on a roll. Just kind of ride that momentum. And once you get to the semifinals, you're not thinking about being tired or how many games you played. You're thinking, okay, we got one game to go, and then we're playing for a chance at the NCAA tournament. And then you get to that championship game, like we got 40 minutes, and we're in the big dance. And so those are things that are going through your head. You're not really thinking of, oh, I'm tired. This is our 4th game. You're riding that adrenaline and momentum that. And you just keep it going. And it was a cool thing to see, to win 4 games in 4 days. It's something cool to be a part of. And you hear stories about stuff like that happen every so often. And just to be a part of something like that, it was very special.
As you look at the way your season went, it was kind of like that final game. I mean, you had ups, you had downs, you had guys that are no longer with you, you had guys who were hurt. How did you weather that throughout the year? Because they thought, they being the experts, thought you were pretty good going into the year.
Yeah, we were actually picked first in the preseason polls, and we just had a lot of changes, kids leave, transfer, injuries. And so it made for kind of a long, I'm not going to say, disappointing, but sure, we were projected first. And finishing 6th obviously wasn't our goal coming into the season. But we have some veteran players that not necessarily played for us here at St. Louis very long, but at other schools. We have 4 fifth-year seniors on our team. And so I think that experience kind of took over. They start to feel that sense of urgency, this just could be the end. And all that experience, I think, kind of paid off when you get into these big moments in tournament situations. And we picked the right time to start playing together. Even the last, 4 or 5 games of the year, we didn't win them all, but we were definitely playing better. And so you kind of see improvement happening. And when you have a bunch of kids that haven't played together in the past, it's a process to find those pieces. And when kids are coming and leaving throughout the season, it doesn't make that process any easier. And so we just kind of stuck with it. The kids kept believing in what the coaches were trying to teach throughout the year, and we got hot at the right time.
Ford made the comment after the game, and he was obviously also referring to himself and other coaches. You're an aggregation of players / coaches, a team that have come from different places, different directions, different backgrounds. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes, as you just mentioned, it's hard to get that all headed in the right direction.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think that was a challenge for us, as I kind of mentioned earlier. And right now, we're kind of clicking, and we've kind of figured out our roles, what people's strengths are. We have guys playing at a very high level, the best that they've played throughout the season, and that's multiple players. So obviously that helps. And our defense has kind of been what we've hung our hat on all year long. Defense and rebounding, those have been two of our strengths. And so when you're good at those two things, that'll always give you a chance. You know, we only let St. Bonaventure score 53 points in championship games. So obviously when you hold a team of that many points, you're going to give yourself a chance. And so when you're in March, late February, those are the type of things that can help you stay in games, because naturally the game just slows down. When you start to get into championship atmosphere, big-time games, the pace of the game slows down. There's fewer possessions. And so as long as we can continue to be strong in the rebounding and defensive aspect of the game, I like us, having a chance to win games.
You know, one of the things that, and certainly I think you would attest to this, NCAA tournament teams, but any tournament team really, you're only going to proceed and you're only going to go as far as good guard play and free throw shooters can take you. And I'm a big believer, probably more in the other than I am the latter than I am the former, because seeming like in this level, every game's going to come down to making free throws late. And it depends on who's on the line, I guess. You got a couple of guys that are good, but for the most part, 60%ers, that could come back to bite you.
Yeah, and, unfortunately, we missed some key front-end one-and-one in that championship game that kind of allowed St. Bonaventure to come back and have a chance to win it at the end. But, at that point, you have to kind of have a next-play mentality. That's part of the game. Sure, we want to make free throws. You learn from that, and we got to continue to work on that going into the weekend. But it's a next play. You can't dwell on it. You have to move on, try to focus on getting that next stop. And it wasn't pretty how we pulled it out down the stretch, but we found a way to get a couple stops, a couple rebounds that allowed us to kind of stand us missing those free throws down the stretch.
Are you the free throw coach? Can we credit you for that 60%?
I'm not going to answer that because
yeah, you can. You better answer.
What happened last game was not ideal, but I think he's got to give our players a bunch of credit. They're just tough. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that we're the prettiest team and that we're the most offensively explosive team in the country, but we're just tough. We're gritty. It's not always pretty, but when it gets down to it, our guys play about as tough and hard as anyone can, and I think that's been our demeanor. It's been our mentality all season, and that's what has just allowed us to stay in some of these games in the last couple of weeks.
You got an early read on Virginia Tech by any means?
We're very good.
Well,
I can tell you that. They're very good. They're very talented. They're experienced. One of the best offensive teams in the country. I think they make like 9 threes, shoot about 40% from the three-point line, 50% from two. And so, yeah, they're very talented offensive team. And so, we're going to have to do our best to dial in and focus on our defensive game plan and kind of what we've been hanging our hat on all year. So we just have to continue to focus on that come Friday.
We've had these things before here at Oklahoma State, so I know the excitement level, but you guys had to come halfway across the country late at night. It was time to get back into St. Louis, and were they still celebrating when you got back?
They were, and we had a good group of students, a good crowd at the arena, and we pulled in, and so that's what it's all about. And for these kids that experience it, most of them, it's their first time. They never got to play in an NCAA tournament or anything, and so I was just kind of happy for them to be able to say they've experienced it, because there's nothing like it. I mean, it's the best, week that you'll have as a college basketball player. The NCAA tournament isn't a game; it's an event. It's something that you can't even put into words of the environment and atmosphere that goes on when you're there. And so for them to be able to just experience this whole thing is something that they'll never forget.
Did you ever relate any of your experiences to them as to, hey, I can't tell you what to have, but when we get there, You got police escorts. You got a lot of attention from the media. You go into those blue draped areas in an arena. Did you ever tell them about it?
Yeah, going into the game, I was just telling them, I was like, guys, you have no idea what you're playing for. I mean, this isn't just a chance to go to another tournament, keep your season going. This is something you'll never forget. This is something the whole country's watching. People aren't, at school, at work. Everyone is stopped and watching that opening weekend on all these games going on. It's an event. I told them I can't even describe it. I really can't. And so for you guys just to have that chance I was just trying to let them know how special of an opportunity that they have. And it's not an opportunity that presents itself very often. It's very hard to make the NCAA tournament. It's not an easy thing to do. And so I was just kind of trying to let them know the opportunity that was at hand. And, afterwards, kind of a joke. I was like, hey, you guys did something I never did. I never won a conference championship. So that was kind of the joke that was going on.
Did you guys stay around for the up there for the selections announcement?
Yeah.
What was
that
like?
So we went back to the hotel, and we were actually, I think, the fourth team or something like that, revealed. So once we got our name called, we hopped on the bus, drove to the airport, and flew out. So it happened all very fast. The celebration, we were there at the arena for a while doing all that stuff. But it was a good experience. And obviously, I think what just adds to it is, we were sixth going into the tournament, winning 4 games in 4 days, how we won the game, it coming down to the final seconds, just all that build up. It mixed into one is just, I think, what made this game, this moment, everything so special.
Well, you won't play them, but you'd be out there with Kansas State in that pod as well, out in San Jose.
Yeah.
A little Big 12.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
A little Big 12 flavor there. Hey, before I let you go, I got to ask you this. You used to be named. You used to be on everybody's conversation at Oklahoma State when we talk about 3-point shots. Since you've been gone, your name has slipped down the list. It used to be Phil Forte, now it's Phil who? Because of Gonzaga and Waters. They're kind of going to go by you. How do you feel about that? Now you're coaching. I guess it doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, you're right. No, I'm happy for him. I was fortunate enough to play with those two guys, and I know how much time they put in to their craft and everything. And so the on-court success that they're having is very well-deserving, and it's cool to see them achieve that. And anytime I get a chance to watch them play, I still do, because I've played with 3 of those guys, including Cam. And so those 3 had a great year statistically and individually. And so I'm excited to see next year, when they get some more players coming in and adding some talent to that core 3, what they can do. And Coach Mike's done a great job building a foundation there, and I'm excited to see what him and his staff do going forward.
Yeah, I was going to say, I bet you keep as close a contact as you can running. What are you learning up there? Tell me what Forte's learning as being a coach.
A lot. It is definitely a whole different mentality. And so coming from player to coach, you definitely get to see some things that you necessarily don't see as a player. And, when practice is over, you're not going home. You're still at the office. You're breaking down film, getting ready for the next game. When there's an off day, players are off, but the coaches, you're not off. And just seeing how much preparation goes into each game and how to handle certain situations. You kind of have to pick and choose your battles. And I've been fortunate enough to be a part of Coach Forte's staff up here and learn from other coaches. And it's been a blessing to be up here, and just kind of take it in as a sponge, just trying to learn as much as I can and continue to grow as a coach moving forward.
You finally see the things that you used to do to drive the coaches crazy. Now you see that you're on the other end now.
I sit there all the time. I'm like, God, I can only imagine the things that Coach Forte was saying about me one time after a game or after practice. So that's definitely been an ongoing joke. I've definitely thought about that before.
I'll tell you one thing you've learned since you've been here. You've learned to talk like a coach, and you talk a lot longer than you used to when you were here.
I missed you. What can I say? I don't have the opportunity to talk to you as much, so I'm just trying to take advantage of it.
Yeah, we need to squeeze it all in one interview the best we can. Hey, congratulations to you and say hello to Trav and Ford and all those guys. I know you guys are are excited about this. I know people around here will be watching it. I guess we'll see it on TV here. Who knows? Maybe you'll continue that magic in March. And appreciate the visit, bud. We'll keep in touch, and I'll be back to you.
Absolutely, no problem. Thanks for having me.
All right, buddy. That is Phil Forte, one of the good guys that we've had here over the years. And I know Jason knows that because he's interviewed him 1,000 times when he was here. But, boy, he sounds like a coach.